Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'll do an introduction on Windows function. So we're going to discuss and we're going to demonstrate how to use Windows function in SQL. Windows function is a must known for data scientists and analysts. It's something you must master in order to help you work effectively with your data. So before we move right into the video, if you're just coming to this channel, please click on the subscribe button and as well the notification bell to be aware whenever I drop any new content on SQL. So now let's move right into it. So what is a Windows function? Windows function operates on a set of rows and returns a single value for each row from the underlying query. So this means Windows function returns a single aggregated value for each row. So just like the visual representation of what we have here, you can see like this is returning from row to rows. So we're going to go into more detailed explanation. So what are the types of window functions? We have the aggregate functions, ranking functions, and the analytic functions. Under the aggregate function, we have the max, min, average, sum, and count, and we also have other different ones. I'm very sure we must have come across each and every of these functions when we're writing a SQL. So under the ranking functions, we have the rank, dens, row number, and the others. And as well, under the analytic function, we have the lead, we have the lag, we have the first value, and the last value. So let's talk about the window function syntax. So there's a particular way you need to write your code under window function. So here we can see the function, we can see the over. So under this over is just like a way of introducing partition by, order by, or any type. So we can use each and every of these partition by, order by, rows, and range independently, and you can also use them together, whereby you can use partition by department and you order by any of the column. So for an example, we can see under this partition by is just a way whereby we partition each and every column. Let's say we have a particular column we want to partition, so it's just a way we group all identical data in that particular column together. So under this department, we did something like partition by department. So every identical data in this particular department, they are going to be grouped together. It's more like it's going to aggregate them, like it's going to give us an aggregate results. So we also have the order by. Under the order by is usually used as a way of sorting our data, either ascending or in descending order. So now let's go to an example to make us understand how the Windows function works exactly. So here we have an example of an employee data table. Under this employee data table, we have the ID, name, department, and salary. So let's say in this table, we want to find the maximum salary in each department. So we can do this with the Windows function. Also, we must have come across the group by, because the group by function, we can use it. So we're going to explain in further details. So using Windows function for an example like this, where I want to find the maximum salary in each department. So how we are going to write our query is, we are going to write something like we introduce our over. Remember when I mentioned like whenever we want to use the over clause is a way for introducing partition by or any of the term that we want to use. So we introduce the over and we wrote partition by department. So, and also we use the maximum salary. Each and every of these two, they work hand in hand. So let's say you want to find the maximum salary for what we are trying to do over here. So we put in the partition by department. What this partition by department is doing is going to group every identical department together, and as well is going to find the maximum salary in this identical department. So we can see our results from what we have below. You can see the identical department, which is the technology, they are being grouped together, and we have the maximum salary in this technology department. So here is giving us an aggregated result for each department. So the highest salary we have in technology was 45,000. So this 45,000 was represented in each row. So each row is actually giving us an aggregated result for each and every row. So each and every row in this data, they were represented. So under the sales, you can see sales were also grouped together, and the highest maximum salary we have there is also written over there. So we can see with the Windows function, we can bring out all the data that we have in our table. So now let's compare the group by and the Windows function. Group by, just like we said earlier, group by is a way whereby we group all the data, or is a way of aggregating data in our table. So we can group by any of the column, just as a way whereby we group, and then every identical data that is inside that table is going to be grouped together, and then it's going to give us an aggregated result. So when using group by and the Windows function is seen as a better substitute to group by, because the group by only gives us a limited number of rows. So it's going to give us like a single row being aggregated together just as a single result, whereby we don't have all those windows for each and every rows. So Windows function is seen as a better substitute for group by. From this visual representation, we have the group by are being grouped together into one single aggregated result. But for the Windows function, you can see the Windows function, these are 3 identical rows. So, and then we can see individual aggregated results. So Windows function is also aggregating, but then is aggregating virtually and is giving us a single window for each and every rows. So let's do an example with the same salary that we mentioned using the group by, then we can compare with the Windows function. So looking at this group by, we said we want to find the maximum salary in this department. So what we did was we said select emp.department. So this emp is coming from the employee table. So this is our employee table, and this emp is the alias. So we said emp.department, then we call out the maximum salary as max salary. Then from employee, then we group by the employee department. So just like we said, it's giving us a single result for each and every of the aggregated rows. So we can see the HR is coming out as an aggregated data, and is a single row for that particular identical row. So we also have the sales and the technology. So we have each and every single row for those identical departments. So let's compare with our Windows function. So with the Windows function, from what we have over here, it's just the same thing we did, but it's just a different query. So we write the over, we have the over, we do partition by department, and we use the as max salary. So from the employee table. So this is the emp, just as the same alias we use. So now we are calling out the emp.department, and we use the max salary. So it's just the same thing over here, but different code in each. So we can see like we're just selecting the emp.department, just as the same thing we did under the group by. From what we have under our results, we have the department and the max salary. So we can see like each and every of these identical data in the table, they are grouped, and then it's giving us an aggregated result. So here, just the same query we wrote over there, whereby we say we are printing the max salary. So we define our over partition by department as max salary from employee, which is the employee table, and the emp is the alias. So with the alias, we are calling out all the data. So whenever we write emp.star, star means like we want to return everything inside this table. So we say emp.start. So from our results, you can see the technology, sales, and the HR. But from what we have in our result, you can see like it has been sorted. So automatically it's been sorted in ascending order, which is one thing SQL does. So it's partitioning by the departments, and then it's sorting them, so which is by the department. So we can see the HR, we can see the sales, we can see the technology, and the max salary that we are looking for. So we have everything, that is every record, because the reason why we have everything is because we tell it to like we selected all the data that we have. So let's say we just want to select a specific column, let's say the name, or let's say the salary or the ID. So, but one thing you just need to have in mind is each and every of these rows, they are not going to be aggregated whereby we just have one single rows. So they are being aggregated whereby you can see each and every rows in the table. Now let's talk about each and every terms that we use. We know we use the over, we use the partition, we use the order by. So but we need to understand each and every of these terms whenever we are working with Windows function. So each of them, they are very important. So let's talk about the over clause. The over clause is usually what we use for introducing a partition by, order by. So you need to write this. So it's what we use to define the partitioning and ordering of our rows. And again, let's move to the partition by. Partition by divides the query results into partitions. So it's just like a way we group every identical data in the table, everything all together, just as we've seen in the departments column. So we can see all the technology, they are being aggregated, and then we have the sales, they are being aggregated together. So that's what the partition is doing. It takes every identical data in the column, it aggregates them together. So we also have the order by. Order by is the way we order rows within each partition. So the way we use partition by, we can also order by the name or their ID as well. So we also have the rows. The rows is a way we use to limit the number of rows within our partition. Let's say we want to see just a few number of rows, so we can use these rows term in inside our query, so we can use it. So now let's move to the SSMS to see the practical implementation of everything that we've just explained. So now we are on our Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So in this environment, we can write all our code. So what we are going to do now is let's select our table, which is same employee table that we worked with earlier. So this is the data we have inside our table. So now we are going to implement the group by that we mentioned. So let's select the maximum salary. From EMP. So let's group by the department. I'm going to demonstrate, let's say we want to print everything without grouping by what we want to select. So we're going to see what this is going to give us. Salary in capital letter. So let's run our code. So you can see it's giving us an error. So what we need to do is we need to print out, that is whatever we want to select has to be under the group by. So we only group by the department. So let's say I want to print I need it to return a department because I already grouped by the department. So let's run it. So we can see the department has been aggregated out, like the max salary in each department. So for instance, I want to see the name of those employees. So let's run it again. So here we can see the names and the department with their maximum salary. So this is basically telling us, like, if you want to return all the columns here, so you need to group them, like the name of each column has to be specified under this group by, which is not the same for Windows function. So this is why Windows function is seen as a very good approach when working with massive data. So let's implement same thing with Windows function. Our over clause, over, so you first write over, then you write partition, then you write what you want to partition by, so which is the department. So let's close it, and then we give it an alias. So let's call this let's use something else, partition by department. So we call it the max which is a max cell. So from our table, so EMP. So now I haven't selected anything. So now let me select emp.star. Let's say I want to select every single details inside this table. So let's run it. Here you can see this is giving us like every record, every column inside our table. Here we don't need to specify like each of these records, so we just printed everything out, which is actually very good. So let's look at more examples on how we can use this Windows function. So as well, with the same code that we write here, you can also order inside this. You can also order, so you can come over here after you've written the partition. You can as well write order by. So let's say you want to order by their names, because from what we have here by default is ordering by the department. So let's say I want to order by their name. So let's run this. So you can see each and every details we have here has been ordered by their names. So let's look into each and every department. Under HR, we only have one record. So you need to look at the each department's grouping, that is the aggregation in each department. So sales belong to same department. So let's look at it. We have the hire, we have the Ellen. So this has been ordered by their names in each department. So also the technology, we have the Bob, Ari, Steve, they've been ordered by their name in each department. Is coming first, Bet is coming next, that is in this same order, which is not by their partition, that is which is not by their grouping. So what we're going to do now is we can use order outside of this. We can use it outside of this. Then you write emp.name. So you can do that. Then let's run a query. So you can see this has been ordered by their name. So what we are saying is inside this partition, you can order by their department, that is by each category. So you can order by their department. So let's say I want to get the names emp. So emp.name. So I just want to get the name and the ID. So there you write the alias. It means I want to find the average salary of each of these departments. So that's why I said these two functions actually goes hand in hand. Like this aggregate function and the over with the partition we've written, they both work hand in hand, because you can actually find the average salary, which is going to give you like the general average salary. But now we want to find the each department, that is average salary for each department. AVG. So let's run our code. So here you can see the average salary in each department, that is in each department that we grouped. So that was what has been calculated for us for each department. So let's do the count of the order ID So we are partitioning by department. So it's just like to count by department. Okay. So let's print. Let's run our query. So here we can see the counts of each department. You can see the count that we have in each and every of these departments. Let's include the department. Yes, so here we can see the counts of each employee that we have in each department. So which is the counts by department that we just did. So but then we're going to move further to discuss lead, lag, rank, and the others in our next video. So please ensure that you give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you can catch up with this new video. And I hope this tutorial was helpful in giving you an head start on what Windows function is. So thanks for watching. I would love to see you next time.